Hello and welcome to a new edition of Bengal Magazine. My name is Jeff Ventura. I'm sitting in for Tom Koller this week. Great show planned ahead today. In our first segment, we'll talk swimming and diving with head coach Dan Allen and his sophomore butterfly and IM swimmer Briggs Sgaglio. In the second segment, women's volleyball off a great season, one of the best in recent history. Maria DePeters, the head coach, and Chelsea Moore, a junior libero. And in our final segment, we'll be talking with our senior associate athletics director Tom Koller and Mike Bonfante from campus planning about the Houston Gym renovation project. When we come back, we'll talk swimming and diving. Welcome back to Bengal Magazine. We're talking swimming and diving in our first segment today. Head swimming and diving coach of the men's and women's programs, Dan Allen, and sophomore Briggs Sgaglio. Welcome to the show and welcome back after the long off season in swimming and diving. Season is finally underway. You've been in the pool for a little while now, but first meet under our belts on Saturday. A real good win with some strong performances for the women. The men had some strong individual performances as well. Talk a little bit about that first meet and how things went according to your expectations.
First meet's always a big jitter, for especially our first-year students, because they don't know what to expect from a college meet. So it was good to get that meet out of the way. I like having MCC on our schedule because they give a lot of good races for us individually. Also, it's a good recruiting tool, trying to get some transfers. We actually have a transfer and Matt Toussaint, who's from MCC, and I'm looking to kind of establish that connection with MCC and get some more transfers in. So we had a lot of solid swims across the board. We're not where we want to be right yet, but we're getting there.
Well, you don't want to be where you want to be until late February anyway, so I think you've still got some time for that. What can we look forward to out of both the men's and women's teams this year?
Women's team is probably the deepest team we've had since I've been here. We have about 20 student athletes. When I was first here, my first year, we had roughly about 12 that finished the year. So we're deep. I think we have a good, solid freshman class that's going to provide depth. Then I have all my returning student athletes from last year, which is going to be great, including Briggs here. Guys' team, we're very young. We have one senior on the team, only one senior, and we have about 5 freshmen. So there's a lot of growing going on, the growing pains with our guys' team. That they're just learning how to, let's put it this way, race and coming into training too. So
ended the season on a great note last year. 18 school records set at SUNYAC championships. Talk about what that means for your team as far as the individual athlete's confidence and then what that does for you when you go out recruiting.
As a program as a whole, we've broken 40 school records in 2 years. I can't begin to tell you how awesome that is. And for his recruiting, I've gotten so much more interest this year than I had in the previous 2 years alone. I'm gaining more interest. I'm getting more recruiting student athletes sending me information, calling me on the phone. Club coaches calling me, which is great. The freshman class that we brought in this year was better than the freshman class we brought in the previous year, which is always a great indicator. But we're still not where I want us to be as far as program numbers. And I'm trying to set the bar high this year for recruiting and try to bring in 8 solid recruits on both sides for a total of 16. I want to bring a whole roster to SUNYACs, and we're still kind of short of that goal. Last year we brought about 13 guys and 12 girls. This year we'll be right about that number, but the full roster you can take to SUNYACs is 17, and that's what I'm trying to aim for every year, is bring a full roster to SUNYACs.
You're joined by Briggs Sgaglio, a sophomore butterfly and IM specialist from Pound Ridge, New York. For our viewers and myself, where is Pound Ridge, and talk about why Buffalo State was the choice for you.
Pound Ridge is Westchester. It's like 45 minutes outside of New York City. And I looked at a bunch of schools, and this has a good program for my major. And I talked to Dan Allen, and I did the whole recruiting thing online, the Recruit Me form. And that's really how I got into it. And we just talked a lot, and then just came for a visit.
As a freshman, set 4 school records last year, 2 individual, the 200 fly and the 400 IM. Talk about your rookie season and Is it what you expected to have that kind of success?
No, I didn't think it was going to be anything like that, but it was an amazing season. I didn't think coming in as a freshman I would be anywhere like that, and so knowing that I was like that last year, my goals are even higher this year, so I hope it pushes me forward to do even better.
Now, the 400 individual medley, it's kind of the crazy person's race as far as how grueling it can be. Why is that your race of choice, or does coach say, hey, you're good in all four strokes, so you're doing it?
Kind of a little bit of both. I mean, I like it because I get to do a little bit of everything, and it touches on my strong spots, my fly and my breast, and then my backstroke I get to relax a little bit in it, but it's not bad. It's okay.
Coach, I do want to talk about, we're going to talk a little later in the show about the Houston Gym renovation project. The program most affected is swimming and diving. Kissinger Pool is part of Houston Gym, therefore it is offline. But we found a couple of nice facilities at the Grabbier School for our swimmers and over at University of Buffalo for the divers. Talk about how the transition's been to the Grabbier Pool, which is just down the road from the college.
It's only about 5 minutes from the college, which is great. So the transportation is an easy commute. The one struggle I'm having is getting all my swimmers at one time, and to do that, the only time I can plan is in the morning. So we have our practices early morning from 6 to 8 a.m. And to tell you the truth, it's kind of a little bit, takes a toll on our team because I have commuters too that commute about half hour, 40 minutes away. So they have to get up. So I'm a little bit lenient with them, as far as the commute. And then I have freshmen on campus that also too need transportation, but I have my upperclassmen that give them rides, so we got to carpool and working out and everything. The drawback is we don't have any home meets. All our meets are away this year, except the one meet February 2nd against Geneseo, which will be at UB, which will be kind of nice. We'll be honoring our seniors at that meet, so kind of home away from home, let's put it that way.
It's on one hand a disadvantage, but there could be an advantage to getting the whole team together for all these practices. And from a student-athlete perspective, I think last year, your practice times were scattered throughout the day. Talk about what it's like to have the whole team together practicing at the same time.
I really like it. I get to train with the Butterflyers this year, and we brought a new one, Sarah Exposito, so we get to train together, and I get to see everyone, and it's just bring us more together and more team bonding.
And I would assume the pushing each other within practice, have you had to do much to restructure the way you do things?
The lanes, it was kind of tight. The restructuring, I make sure that, obviously if you have, 30, 32 student athletes on your team, you're going to be kind of somewhat crowded in a 6-lane pool. But I've done a good job of structuring our practices and making sure that we're in the right groups. One of the biggest assets this year is I have, a big coaching staff. I have 2 part-time assistants, in Nate Steger and Jackson Taylor. I have another volunteer in Rob Erickson, and then another volunteer in Austin Rhodes. So with those 4, we can cover a lot of the lanes that we need to.
Well, good luck, Pitt Bradford, this Saturday. Have a strong meet, and hopefully you get to where you're trying to get to. Before we go to the break, I want to point out our Tim Hortons Buffalo State Athlete of the Week. It's women's volleyball player Chelsea Moore, the junior libero, was named to the SUNYAC Championship All-Tournament team, helping the Bengals advance to the SUNYAC title game for just the second time in school history. Moore had 26 digs and 2 aces in Saturday's 3-set victory over New Paltz in the semis, and then 29 digs in the championship loss to number 17 Cortland. She's also among the NCAA Division III leaders with 811 digs. Chelsea Moore is our Tim Hortons Buffalo State Athlete of the Week. Welcome back. In this segment, we're talking women's volleyball. We're joined by head coach Maria DePeters and our Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week, Chelsea Moore. Ladies, welcome to the show. Before I get your thoughts on the season, I do want to talk about some of the outstanding accomplishments from this past year. Season came to an end on Sunday in the SUNYAC title game. 26-8 overall record, 26 wins, 3rd most in school history, most since 2001. SUNYAC championship appearance, is the 2nd ever for the Bengals and 1st since '97. And a school record 5 players on the all-SUNYAC team, including SUNYAC Player of the Year Chelsea Bayshore, Hannah Ronaldo, SUNYAC Rookie of the Year. Young lady sitting next to you, 1st team All-SUNYAC, a 3rd time All-SUNYAC honoree. You've had a couple of days to digest the end of the season. That was a little disappointing, but when you look back at the whole body of work, sum up what it meant to you.
It was unbelievable. I mean, there were so many times where we were just so happy with their performance, their intensity, their drive throughout the season. I mean, from day one till this Sunday, they were all on the same page. The captains did a great job. They got everyone together, and they all had one goal, and the goal was to get to Sunday's play in the championship match, and that's what happened. And yeah, losing Sunday, it's a disappointment, but to break the records that we broke this year and to get there is just such a statement, not only for these girls, but for this program.
You talked a little bit about the championship, and I think last time you were on the show, you talked about the girls' desire not to lose or disdain for losing. And I think it was evident in the semifinal match against New Paltz. I don't know if it was nerves or what it was, but New Paltz came out on our court and goes out to a 5-0 lead. And at the scorer's table, I thought, uh-oh, maybe we're not ready for this stage. And then something clicked and turned it around, down 5-0, and then win 25-18, 25-21, 25-19. I think it was seen as an upset across SUNYAC. Even though we were the one in the West, they were the two in the East. Yeah. They kind of had the playoff pedigree. And at least on that day, we were clearly the better team on the court. Talk a little bit about that match.
When they came out, I definitely could tell that some of the girls were nervous, and that happens especially when we're a team that hasn't seen that many appearances in the semifinals and playoffs. That happens, but when the girls got the nerves out and then they started playing together as a team, it just flew, and everything just combined. The defense, the offense, the setting, the passing, everything just worked together, and they all wanted it. And one of the big things I said to them after the match was, you played so consistently, and it was such a pleasure to watch you play consistently. And never for a moment did they doubt that they were going to lose that game. They knew going in that they were going to beat that team.
Like I said, something just switched, and you could see
Absolutely.
that they started to believe. Junior libero, first team all-conference, third year in a row all-conference, first time on the first team. Share a couple of your stats this year, a school record 811 digs. I believe it's second in the nation at the moment. The school career digs record of 1,837. That's 6.49 dig per set. It's also second in the nation right now. Talk a little bit about just your own season personally.
Well, those were never part of my goals. Obviously that's an awesome accomplishment, but going into a season, I'm not this year I'm going to try to get 811 digs to beat a record. It kind of happens, and I don't know. It was just an awesome season for me.
You've been a strong libero, obviously second team all conference. What do you think has changed within your game this year to elevate you to the next level?
I think I'm a lot more confident this year. The past 2 years, I was a younger player, and going into games, I wouldn't say I wasn't confident, but I would say this year I was a lot more confident. Knowing that I'm a junior on the team, one of the upperclassmen, and I needed to lead it kind of, especially being a captain. So I think that helped me a lot.
And you mentioned being a junior. The program has started to turn a corner. I think in the early 2000s we were strong, and then took a bit of a recession. In the last couple of years, you've seen it start to turn the corner. Back-to-back 15-win years, your first two seasons. The natural progression is not the next jump to 28 wins or 26 wins. Talk about just the team this season and what you enjoyed most about being part of that team.
This season we had a lot of awesome recruits come in. We have 7 amazing freshmen, 7, right? And we all, right from the start, became a team right away. We started hanging out off the court. We're all so close this year. We're all so comfortable around each other on and off the court. And I don't know, we just love each other, I would say.
It's got to be good to hear as kind of the architect, as a college coach. You're the architect recruiting and bringing those pieces together. And I suppose you never really know how they're going to gel. What kind of mechanisms do you put in place to try and get that team to bond together?
When I first started and things like that didn't happen, I made team bonding necessary. It was mandatory. There would be a couple times in the season where I had on the schedule team bonding, and it wasn't an option. And when that started to happen 2 years ago, it just progressed, and we don't have to do it. We want to do it. We do things in the beginning of the season. We went to the Bison's game, and that really helps with things. And then it's also about the type of captains you have. And the 3 captains we had, Kelsey, Chelsea, and Sherelle, were unbelievable. And they knew what they wanted out of the season, and they did it, and they loved being with one another.
Do you want to bring you back a little bit to Monday? We had the NCAA selection show, and obviously it was disappointing hearing the 64th team called and it not being Buffalo State. But as we know, this is a process, and I think that we haven't been on the national map in a few years. You can only assume that we were in the discussion, and that will help for next year. What do you think it means to put the program back into more of a national discussion?
I think it means everything. To sit in that room and know that we have a chance to be called to go into the NCAA tournament for an outside bid is unbelievable. And I know the girls are really disappointed, but I said to them, I go, this is unbelievable that we are in the running, that our name is in that phone call and they're debating whether or not we're going to go in or not. So, it shows the school, and not only the school, it shows the country that we are one of the top Division III teams in the nation, and we deserve to be in the NCAA bracket in the future.
Now we've got just over a minute left. 3 seniors we're losing, only 1 from the starting rotation. A pretty big piece in the middle with Sherelle McLean. But talk about this returning core and what your goals are as we already start to prepare for next season now.
Definitely losing Sherelle is, it stinks. It's sad, and she was a great leader and she had an awesome season. But yeah, we have every single one of our starting returners coming back, and so it's sad to see the season end. But when I look into the future, I'm just so excited to look into next year. We'll have a strong group of upperclassmen, and that's when you lose some of these games against some of the teams, that's one of the things that they might have had over us is they had a full roster of juniors and seniors. So playing against experience can be hard sometimes when you are young, but next year we're going to be the experienced team. So very much looking forward to it.
We've got an exciting season coming up next year too with the change in the SUNYAC elimination of divisional play. So that gives us the ability to host SUNYACs again next year, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. It's a great weekend of great women's volleyball, and like I said, it's just great to see really good women's volleyball being played at Buffalo State. So thank you for your time, and enjoy the off season, which I suppose starts today and ends in a couple weeks when you're supposed to get back to getting ready for next year. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Houston Gym renovation project. Welcome back to our final segment. We're talking Houston Gym renovation, joined by Senior Associate Athletic Director Tom Koller and Mike Bonfante from our campus planning office. Houston Gym, we've been talking about it for a little while now, and
forever.
It's finally really becoming a tangible reality.
Yeah.
Last Monday, we vacated our home for the last 50 years where athletics, anybody familiar with Buffalo State Athletics, that's been the home.
Yeah.
And the process of moving out took 2 days, and we've got some empty rooms and some empty classrooms and offices and fitness center. Talk a little bit about the process and the move to Campus West.
It is. It's finally come to fruition, Jeff, and thanks to this guy, it's really kind of gone quite smoothly. But I was walking through the gym the other day, and all by myself, and everything's down, the baskets are down, and I just honestly, I thought of Randy Smith. I thought of all the great basketball games. I thought of Dick Beer. I thought of Gail Maloney. I thought of all the great athletes that have come through Buffalo State and Houston Gym in the last 50 years, 5 decades. When I was going to school here, the bleachers, that's where you watched a basketball game, and it was so noisy, and it was just, Buff State versus Potsdam, and it was fabulous. And I thought, wow. And so there's that sentimental value to somebody who's been at Buffalo State and was an undergraduate. But guess what? Things are moving forward beautifully. And we're over at Campus West now. It took basically, Mike, a couple days to move offices and equipment, varsity weight room equipment, fitness center equipment, and we're up and running within a week. And it's going to be great. It's our temporary home for a year and a half, 2 years, and then we move back to a palace. So I know that the coaches and the staff are very excited. A, something new over at Campus West, and B, can't wait to go back.
Mike, our project liaison, working with the contractors and the design team, talk a little bit about where we are in the process now. We've vacated the building. It's been turned over. What's next?
Well, first thing we're going to do is continue to empty the building. There are some things that are still in there that need to be taken away, put into surplus, or saved for when we reoccupy. Contracts have been sent out to the contractor of choice. Javen Construction, they have them in hand. They have 10 days to return them. We are setting up the kickoff meeting for next week sometime. So that is pre-contract being let, but we'll talk about all the details of the job. And we're looking to start in the end of November, in the end of this month. So,
and then when construction begins, what do we expect to see? Will we be seeing anything, or is it?
Are you doing the ceremonial sledgehammer into the wall for us, or?
We haven't scheduled anything that's ceremonial there. It is the complete gut renovation of a building, and it's going to be. Don't worry, the sledgehammers will fly.
Great.
But the things you're going to see first, to your point, Jeff, is the setup of the site. You're going to see temporary fencing and pathways being set up, construction trailers, lay-down areas. As they confine the site and set up barriers and entrances, there'll be like 3 different construction entrances. There'll be fairly large construction signs put up that have some graphics on them to show you what the future is. Mm-hmm. As they're doing that, they'll be staging inside to start the abatement and demolition. That's our first jump. And that part is expected to take through February. So it'll get moving pretty quickly once we get going.
It's an exciting time here on campus, not just for athletics. An alum attended the college in the 90s, Tom, sometime earlier than that.
Thank you.
The campus is really not recognizable if you haven't been back since then. For our alums who are out there watching who haven't been back in a little while, talk about all the changes on campus that are going on right now and that are coming soon. Well,
obviously the 2 big things are the science building renovation and the technology building renovations that are moving along fine. Phase 1 of science is getting occupied. Phase 2 is out to bid. The technology building is right on schedule. And the student union that I'm also project manager on is progressing through the first phase. The central lobby and entrance to dining has been turned over, and if you go in there, it's significantly different. There was, as a matter of fact, walking through, I caught an alumnus just walking around down in the lower lobby area outside the game room, just looking, saying, wow, this is different, Yeah. So there are people that are starting to get through the area. There's a few things to be finished up in that first phase, but we've turned it over. Get people out of the cold for the winter, get them back inside.
Those who do come back to campus, I would encourage them to go to the union. As a commuter student, if I wasn't in a locker room or class, I was in the student union, and what a dramatic change. The entire facility, the dining areas, and as well as now the lobby to match those periphery areas. Tom, little short-term sacrifice for athletics, our student athletes, and our users. Talk about the long-term gains when we get the palace, as you refer to.
I got to also remind you that you were in the library too a lot during your undergraduate.
Sure, I was.
Because you were an honor student. So, it's amazing. I know it's not just me, because I feel it from our staff. I feel it from our current student athletes. Even the students that come and use the fitness center and they go, what's going to happen in a year and a half, 2 years? And you talk to them and they just get so excited. We think of athletics as maybe just athletics, but we're part of a bigger picture here, and it's called Buffalo State. And what this guy's doing in the renovation of Houston Gym, it talks about the recruitment of, student athletes, but also of students who want to utilize a state-of-the-art facility for recreation and intramurals, classroom situations, et cetera, et cetera. And then certainly there's the recruitment of student athletes. I met with some student athletes during a recruiting visit a week ago for lacrosse, and they were just their parents were just so excited, because as a parent myself, when you see that kind of construction, you think progress. You think, wow, they're really pushing the envelope here. And we are going to have a state-of-the-art, top-notch facility in 2 years. I mean, I talked to some Division I programs that their teams share locker rooms still. When this is all said and done, guys, all of our athletic programs will have their own locker room. They're home away from home. They'll never have to leave. They'll have it for 365 days out of the year. There are some D1 programs that simply do not have that. So it is so exciting, and everyone's starting to feel it. Now that everything's out, and pretty soon the renovation will start, there's a real feel and a real buzz on campus.
Absolutely. The excitement is everywhere in the halls.
Yep.
And I moved a couple weeks early because I wanted to feel the excitement early. But we look at Houston Gym when it comes back. The expansion of the fitness center will be huge for students in general. Like you said, recruiting of regular students to the college. But then just the training and locker room facilities will be incredible. So looking forward to it, guys. Thank you so much for your time, and Mike, all the work on this project, keeping it moving forward. That'll do it for this edition of Bengal Magazine. We'll talk basketball in a couple of weeks right here on Bengal Magazine. Thank you to our great staff down here in Instructional Resources. Have a good day.